I want my site to look like this. I want it to do this. Okay, that's great. But does that convert people? Or do you just like the way it looks? I mean, I think there's so much bias there around like, well, there's beautiful photography. Well, that's great. But do customers care about that? Is that what makes them buy or not buy? Like, you really need to understand the data and the behavior and then kind of come alongside with the creative.
You could argue Amazon is an ugly website, but boy, does it sell stuff.
Absolutely. And it is easy to shop.
Honest eCommerce is a weekly podcast where we interview direct-to-consumer brand founders and leaders to find out what it takes to start, grow, and scale an online business today. Have you hit a wall with performance marketing on Facebook and Google? It might be time to think about where your next customers are spending their time online. That's where Realize comes in. Realize helps thousands of direct-to-consumer brands to tap into more ad placements across hundreds of premium websites, reaching audiences you just can't find on traditional social channels. With intent-based, contextually relevant ad placements, you can drive real conversions, not just impressions, and expand your acquisition strategy with better data, more control, and higher ROI. Realize helps you build high-performing AI-powered ad experiences backed by 17 years of data. And simple to set up, no bloated dashboards or complicated onboarding, so you can start scaling fast. You can also leverage your own first-party data to retarget people already in your funnel. So if you're ready to go beyond Facebook and Google and start reaching new audiences, head on over to discover.taboola.com/honest, and we can start the new year with a new performance channel. That's discover.taboola.com/honest, discover.taboola.com/honest. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Honest eCommerce. Today, I'm welcoming to the show Jennifer Peters. She is the Director of Direct-to-Consumer, Martech, and Digital Compliance at OLLY, a Unilever brand. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I am excited to chat. Well, first and foremost, for folks that are living under a rock, what are the products you guys are bringing to market over there at OLLY?
Well, I usually tell people, because there are a lot of OLLYs out there. There's like an OLLY dog food. There's like some kind of other store. There's a lot. So if you're not sure who OLLY is, if you've ever walked into Target and turned right, we're always on that first end cap. So we're known for our gummy vitamins. They're delightful, tasty, fun. We've got the square, like the QB square packaging, which is kind of a noticeable standout on shelf. But we're known for our gummies, and we do make more formats than just gummies, but our gummies are super delightful, wonderful. I think the other sort of interesting thing about our approach is that we generally approach things by like, we're trying to help you with this thing. Like, we're trying to help you with sleep. So it's called sleep. We're trying to help you with beauty. So it's called beauty. Rather than the very like traditional approach of like vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc. So
yeah, what does that thing do for me? I don't know.
Yeah, like we're here to solve your problem. So you don't have to worry about doing the research yourself. Like we'll solve it for you.
That's amazing. Now, where does your story start with OLLY?
So I've been at OLLY almost 5 years, and it's awesome. It's such a great place to work. It's such a fun company. It's always great to sell things that people love. Before I was at OLLY, I was at an agency. I'm a Shopify developer, so I built Shopify stores for different brands. And before that, I did a couple other different things. Probably the most notable, I was a director of eCommerce and marketing at a pretty big church supply company in Nashville. So I can sell anything. If you ever need to know things about clergy robes, like hit me up. I'm your girl.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, I came to OLLY right out of an agency. So it was just, agency work's tough. It was like, just felt like a moment of just people who are all trying to do the same thing and excited about it.
Running an e-commerce business means wearing a lot of hats: founder, marketer, customer service, logistics, and let's be honest, sometimes even therapist. But one thing you shouldn't have to stress about: business insurance. That's where Next Insurance comes in. Next is built specifically for small businesses, including e-commerce brands, making it simple to get the right coverage entirely online in just minutes. Whether you sell handmade candles, athletic wear, or subscription boxes, Next helps protect you from the unexpected, from product liability to shipping mishaps and everything in between. And here's the best part. You can save up to 30% on your business insurance and get peace of mind for as low as $1 per day, knowing Next has your back. With transparent pricing, flexible plans, and instant certificates of insurance, Next gives you the confidence to focus on what matters most, growing your store. So if you're ready to protect your business while scaling your brand, head over to nextinsurance.com/honest to get covered today. That's nextinsurance.com/honest. nextinsurance.com/honest. Yeah, as someone that is always still in the agency world, is the grass greener? I'm sure there are other people out there that are working at agencies or they're working at a brand and they think that the grass is greener, right? So what would you, if you were talking to someone about that, like what did you learn or, realize in making those transitions?
That's such a great question. I think people go to agencies for different reasons, and there are different reasons that people stay at agencies. Things that are great about agencies: you get to work on a lot of different brands. You get to see a lot of problems. You get to see a lot of cool new things that you can solve. Every brand you work with is different and unique and has their own set of challenges. So it's constantly like mentally challenging all the time, which I think is awesome. And I actually love that about the agencies. I do think that agencies a lot of times cannot be great places to work. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. If like one big client leaves, then that means something bad, So I think there's a little bit more of a tie to like the day-to-day business. If your day-to-day business is not good, your experience can not be good. If it is good, it can be good. So I don't want to speak for all agencies, but I ultimately I loved the work and I loved the brands that I was working with. It just wasn't a great environment to work in. And, I think there's so much to be said about technology and using technology and being kind of on the forefront, especially at an agency, to help your brands be the first ones to be adopting these new technologies and optimizing, their investments and all of these things. But if your leadership is in a space where they don't really want to do that, then it can be really frustrating because you're sort of stuck in the middle between the direction your agency is going and the directions your brands would like to go. And that's why I decided I was ready to go to work at a brand that I knew I would love. But the downside to that is that, working on one brand can get kind of boring sometimes. And if you're really stimulated by that constant challenge and that, let's say, constantly things flying at you, then it can get a little boring. So I actually still freelance and still build stores and still work with smaller brands. And I feel like it keeps my brain fresh.
Yeah.
Because when you're only solving one set of problems, suddenly you're very limited in the experience that you're gathering too as a professional. So being able to see more things, I feel like keeps me sharp.
Yeah, that's one of the main selling points, I think, of partnering with an agency on certain projects is like, at least us, we're seeing over 10x the amount of issues, problems, et cetera, because we're working with like a dozen brands at a time, right? So it's like, we're just seeing so much cool stuff.
Exactly.
And we're learning, and it's like, even because we're just like, we're so pared down into the Shopify ecosystem, it's like, we know exactly what app solves the problem and which ones don't, right? And like, just having that knowledge is useless outside of this little world that we're in.
It is, but you can take those things then and apply them across brands. And that's really exciting too. When you see a solution and you're like, man, it's really working for this brand, rolling it out across the brands, it like builds your credibility with your other brands too. Is like the people who know, the experts in the field that know the relationships with the different app creators. And, you want to be that for all your clients for sure.
Absolutely. Now, going back to you and joining OLLY, right? So obviously you had mentioned you had a huge partnership with Target, and you come in as the director of direct to consumer. Was how big of a piece of the pie was D2C when you got there? What problems were you hired to help solve?
That's great. Well, I started towards the tail end of COVID, and anyone who did D2C during COVID knows that there's like a whole set of problems. And there was also such high urgency on being able to provide D2C services for every brand. And I think it just magnified the need for D2C, but it also magnified the stress and strain on supply chain. So, every brand during COVID had some sort of supply chain nightmare to deal with. When I came to Ollie, we were kind of just on the tail end of that. And it was in that phase of COVID where a lot of DTC brands, I think, thought it was just going to stay that way. Like they thought, this is it. This is the world now. This is going to be this chunk of our business. When in reality, there was a shift back to people just wanting to be in stores and have product in their hand. And I think we did a great job kind of balancing that, but we also, we're in a lot of stores, so it's a little easier for us. We think of all of our channels as having completely different functions. And the problems I came in to solve, or I guess I'd say like the business I came in to grow, was really around building tight relationships with your most loyal customers, gathering first-party data, creating experiences that other channels can't create. Like Amazon is awesome, but like you're never going to get a one-to-one relationship with your customer on Amazon, so
it is Amazon's customer.
Right. Exactly. You're never going to know who they are. And in D2C, you can really know your customer and you can really understand what drives them. You can learn a lot about the way they consume your product, the way they shop. And all those learnings are applicable across all channels. So for us, we really think of D2C, while it's not a big chunk of revenue, it's, it's a piece, but it's not a big piece. We think of it as like the kind of the most forward facing relationship piece of the customer relationship. We can make you a personalized experience. We can send you samples. We can send surprise and delight with your 3rd subscription, your 6th subscription. And like nobody else is going to be able to do those things. So we really have tried to invest in the places where there are things we can do that no one else can do channel wise.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you were 100% correct. Like all the learnings right now, just recently at the agency, we've been getting really nerdy with like customer insights and UX, all that jazz. Like you can take all that stuff that you have learned through customer surveys or user testing, et cetera. All that stuff in the language that your customer is using. Now you can use it in packaging, you can use it in ads, you can use it in in pitching in stores. It's like our customers are saying this about our product and this is why you need it in the store.
Absolutely. That's so true. I mean, it's kind of our like ground zero of where we learn everything about our customers, what they like, what they don't like, for an experience, a shopping experience, and also like a product experience.
Hey, everybody, just a quick reminder. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't. We're releasing interviews like this every week, so don't miss out. Now, back to the interview. Now, you also, are in charge of Martech.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for the company?
Well, it's probably my favorite part of the job. I mean, basically, I get to go around and look at cool new technology and buy it and administrate it. So that's really fun. I think it's a huge fun part of my job. In the e-commerce space, of course, like almost everything is Martech, or at least feels like Martech. But there have been some really cool things that I've seen out in the world that I know, can serve functions in other departments at OLLY, which is great. I am in a unique role in that I only work cross-functionally at OLLY. So I get to know every department's needs. I get to understand like what pain points exist in accounting as it relates to like reporting and financial reconciliation of D2C. So I like very in tune with a lot of the things that are going on. But my favorite thing, like the thing I live for, and it's really hard to pitch this to anyone before a conference when they're like, what are you shopping for? And you're like, I don't know, but here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a solution to a problem that I myself have not been able to fully define yet.
Yeah.
And when you see that, that is the best feeling in the world. Like when you're just like, oh my God, you identified this entire problem and built a solution to it. This is the best day ever. And maybe only happens once or twice a year, but man, when it happens, it's the best.
All right. Now, before I ask this next question, I am going to preface this to all the listeners out there. Without a strategy, tools are useless.
Mm-hmm.
With that disclaimer out there, what are some things that have excited you recently? Like apps that you guys are loving, things that you've been implementing at OLLY?
My favorite thing that we've done probably in the last year, and we've been working with them for about a year, is very, very smart and programmatic direct mail. And, everything that is old is new again. Like live stream shopping on TikTok is the same thing as QVC, right? Like you're just showing a product, you're talking about it. But like direct mail is back in a way that is super exciting to me right now. We work with Letter Labs and they have a direct Shopify integration that you can almost build anything you can build in email, you can build in direct mail. Like all the event tracking, all of the triggers that exist in Shopify can be directly applied to like different kinds of campaigns. Like you can do evergreen kind of welcome campaign. You can do abandoned cart, like anything you can do digitally, you can do in print. The fun thing is that the laws, I also do compliance. The restrictions around what you can send direct mail, there are none. There are almost none, like literally none. Whereas when you are in the digital space, there's so much consent management, opting in, and kind of all of those things you have to work around. But I do think direct mail just gives you a wider audience to message. The other piece is it's super personalized. So when somebody gets us, we use the Letter Labs, kind of like their big feature is that everything they do looks handwritten. And it absolutely looks handwritten. Like I had 10 things, like 10 individual mailings, and I stacked them, put them all next to each other, and each one of them looked totally different, like handwriting. It was crazy. But I think it feels really personal. Like when we first started selling on SMS and you got a message that said like, hey, Chase, you have 2,000 loyalty points to spend. Wouldn't you like to come shop? Like it feels very personal, but now everybody does that. So it feels less personal. People know that they can do that. But when you get a letter, you get a postcard, you get a card, it feels really different. And Gen Z does not have the negative connotations of getting things in the mail that I think older people do. Like they never got bills in the mail. They never got bad news in the mail. Whereas like I'm 46, I've seen a lot of bad things come in through the mail. So it's not that fun for me. But I do think like the Gen Z audience is really into it. Like it feels really delightful for them. And that's kind of a cornerstone of our brand anyway, is delight. So for us, it's like, it's been so fun to experiment with. And I think like one of the great things about Letter Labs too, is that you don't have to do like a minimum order quantity of 10,000 just to kind of get your foot in the door. Like you could test 200 if you wanted to, an audience of 200. So it's been really fun to experiment with, and just kind of figure out what works, figure out how it also can blend into our email and SMS strategy. And we can optimize around the way people most prefer to receive information, like, what drives them to engage or convert. But that it's weird because again, like everything old is new again, but direct mail right now is probably my favorite toy. It's my favorite new toy.
I have been in business for nearly 20 years, and very few companies I have hired in that time have performed as well as Electric Eye. They have knowledgeable staff, and our project was delivered on time and on budget. Electric Eye has exceeded my expectations, and I look forward to working with them again. That is a direct quote from one of our clients at Electric Eye. Electric Eye is a Shopify Plus partner that has helped over 100 brands migrate, redesign, and optimize their stores since 2016. If you'd like to increase your conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session, we are the true Shopify experts you've been looking for. Right now, we're offering a free diagnostic to qualified brands that reach out and mention the podcast. Visit electriceye.io today to schedule a call and send us a message. Find out why we have over 50 5-star reviews in the Shopify partner directory. Again, that's electriceye.io, electriceye.io. If you sell big, bulky, oversized products on Shopify, I'm talking saunas, reformers, ping pong tables, exam tables, you know the pain. Your cart can't automatically show the real price to deliver that product. So maybe you guess a flat rate for your shipping, or there's that obnoxious email us for a quote button, and the buyer just doesn't purchase. That's why Fright built the world's first solution to make merchants' checkouts freight ready for heavy goods. Quote less, ship more. With Fright installed on your Shopify store, your customers see the true cost of shipping, including options for white glove or curbside, lift gates, appointments, even taxes, duties, and tariffs, all automatically calculated for any buyer anywhere in the world. Behind the scenes, Fright books the carrier, generates the bill of landing, dispatches, tracks, and writes the actual shipping costs back to the order, so finance isn't staring at a $0 line item. Prefer to offer free shipping domestically? Go for it. Fright automates the operation behind the scenes. Sell in other countries without local fulfillment facilities or distributors. Ship direct to consumer from your warehouse or even from your factory with accurate landed costs and reliable delivery times at checkout. Quote less and ship more with Fright. make big and bulky finally buyable on Shopify. Act now to get your store ready for the new year. The first 50 listeners to set their stores up with Fright will actually have Fright cover the first $500 in shipping costs on your orders. Act now to get your store ready for 2026. To take them up on that offer, go to FreightRight.com/honest. That's FreightRight.com/HONEST to get your free customized quote and start selling your best sellers around the world. Visit FreightRight.com/honest today. That's FreightRight.com/honest. Yeah, it's something that we've been slowly experimenting with at the agency. We want to be really good at the things that we're good at, but sometimes we get bored and we drift a little bit into marketing at times, even though we really just want to be core to like UX, strategic design, right? Like we just want to build cool Shopify sites and integrate all the junk. But sometimes it's like, well, I also want to send a direct mail campaign. This sounds fun. So we break our own rules with our retainer clients, and it's fine. It's, it's long term. We'll learn together. But the cool thing about direct mail, especially now as it's mature, right? But like now that it's integrating with digital and in like Shopify, there's a bunch of solutions. But some of them now they're even getting into prospecting, which is nuts.
Yes, it's wild. We've done mostly retention, but the prospecting elements, and especially if like how it can integrate with campaigns that you're already running and paid, it's crazy. It's fun.
Basically, you can send direct mail to people that aren't your customers, that never signed up, getting that data in various ways. And some of the companies even help you do that. But it's like a wild kind of customer, a wild way to get new customers.
It is. It seems to work. It's working for us. So I mean, I don't know that it's for every brand, but it's working really well for us. And it's really fun. Really enjoying it.
And then now, lastly, the third part of your title, digital compliance. What does that entail? It
entails saying no a lot to other people in the organization. I mean, I don't do the science piece of compliance. We have a regulatory team and a QA team that manages kind of like claims, because we're in the supplement space. So we're very highly regulated. And we have a science team that handles that part. So I don't have to do that, which is awesome. I really am kind of for the most part, like the data privacy police, and, how we handle it, how we gather it, how we store it, what we're doing with it. That's probably the bulk of that. It's really around how you handle and manage customer data and what your obligation is to the customer in terms of protecting that and following their, the consents that they've given you across the board. A lot of consent management there too. Things are changing constantly in the legal space. There's new laws around, one-click opt-outs for subscriptions. And
Texas just made some weird SMS law.
The Texas SMS law, I just was reading that yesterday and was like, oh, okay, I'm not even sure what this means yet, but okay. But yeah, it's a lot of things like that. And it's interesting too, because it is really evolving a lot and quickly. And it is always state by state, which is super frustrating. And you kind of just have to default to whatever the strictest standards are. We have a pretty low risk tolerance. I don't like to take chances, and I would never, ever, ever take a chance on anything customer data related. So we're very, very conservative in terms of what we do and how we manage things. So, but it's interesting because it is constantly changing. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I work really closely with our legal team, they're wonderful. And they help a lot kind of like identify those things, come up with solutions that can be applied broadly. But Unilever, that's one of the great benefits of being part of Unilever, is that they've got a lot of brands. If there's an issue that kind of impacts all brands, that they're working on a solution, and, you can kind of rely on that. But it does feel like the Wild West sometimes.
It's funny. We're currently kind of talking with a potential client, and one of their like wish list items was like accessibility and legal compliance. And I just redlined it and went, absolutely not taking that risk on. That is not my problem.
It's a lot. That's a lot. I do ADA accessibility too. And that is tough. And man, it's a lot to be responsible for another brand.
Yeah.
When it's your own brand, it doesn't feel as dramatic, but to take that on as an agency, that's tough.
Well, it's also because it's not, you can't own it and be fully in control of it with 1,000 hands touching a website. Like just for example, with ADA, it's like not a binary yes or no answer. But Absolutely. One thing I can tell you that is wrong is when someone uploads an image without, alt text, right?
Right. That's easy one.
But if my team didn't do that and someone else is on your team did, but then we are taking responsibility for, you know what I mean? So it's like there's just so much that's outside of your control.
I feel like you're describing many people's lives right there. It's like I built this whole site for you that's ADA accessible, and now you've got a marketing manager just uploading images with no alt text. Like I feel like that happens every single day.
Oh my God. It is our nightmare sometimes to like release these beautiful projects into the wild and then look at them 3 months later and we're like, what did you do?
Oh my gosh. I've had a lot of freelance clients like that where I go and I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am never going to take responsibility for anything that's happened here. It's a lot.
All right, Jen, is there anything I didn't ask you about that you think would resonate with our audience?
One of the things I feel like I hear a lot, and I feel like we're kind of at the end of this like headless theme world where people are like, I'm going to be headless. I think there's a reason why Shopify is kind of at the top of their game. And that is because of the relationships they've built with, other providers. And I mean, I think everybody's talking about GEO right now. Everybody's like, how are we going to get into ChatGPT? How are we going to sell in there? And the nice thing about Shopify is like, they already have that relationship. They've had that relationship for years. They've already been working on that. And I think that Shopify has these features that no one else can touch. And you need to lean into those and take those. And you don't need to customize them. A developer that I know always asks the question, why do you think your business is so special that you need a custom version of that? And makes everyone on the team kind of like authenticate that. But the reality is like e-commerce businesses, like no matter what you're selling, a lot of it's the same. It's the same functionalities. And so I guess the lesson there would be like, you need to really understand why you think you're more special than an out-of-the-box functionality that comes from Shopify. Like, do you really need a cart that's different than their checkout? Because they have the best checkout in the business. So what do they know that you don't know? And so I guess it's a cautionary tale of use the features that Shopify brings to the table. Don't try to do it yourself unless there is a very, very good reason for that.
First of all, I appreciate you so much for saying that because I'm usually the one beating that. And so once upon a time, I think it might have been at a Shopify event.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was Lucas from Barrel, New York. They have since, I think, merged with another agency.
Mm-hmm.
But very, very smart gentleman give a talk about headless, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he basically said, unless you can prove to me you absolutely need it, I would never recommend it. And then he even took a step further to being like, and even at that part, like, does the entire site actually need to be headless or this custom, or does it just need to be a certain piece of it? And we could build something that's a little bit more of a hybrid approach, because just build versus buy, right? Like, unless your like moat of your business is some sort of technology SaaS solution, you should absolutely be using off-the-shelf, out-of-the-box components for the infrastructure of the e-commerce element, because your product is not your website. Your product is your products. It's your vitamins, it's your t-shirts, it's the shoes, it's the glasses, right? That's your product. That's where you should be spending energy on getting creative and in custom.
Those are the controllables for you. Yes. Yeah. 100%. Totally agree with you there.
And I see it. I now as a old e-com, I like won't let startups do custom stuff. It's like, that's great. You guys raised $1 million for this idea. I'm not letting you build a custom website. Here's what we're going to do.
I think that's the way. And I think that is the long-term vision that somebody has to have. I mean, it's great to have flashy, cool stuff and be like, I want my site to look like this. I want it to do this. Okay, that's great. But does that convert people? Or do you just like the way it looks? I mean, I think there's so much bias there around like, well, there's beautiful photography. Well, that's great. But do customers care about that? Is that what makes them buy or not buy? Like, you really need to understand the data and the behavior and then kind of come alongside with the creative.
You could argue Amazon is an ugly website, but boy, does it sell stuff.
Absolutely. And it is easy to shop. Oh boy, is it easy to even discoverability, which I don't know how many SKUs they have. I can't even imagine. But when they still kind of have that discoverability that they can bring to the table, that is functionality.
Absolutely. I'm sure that we could just talk all day, but unfortunately we can't. Now, Jennifer, before we go, obviously you want to shout out the products, and obviously you can search by solution on the website. So where should I go to check these things out?
Well, you can go to olly.com. You can go to Amazon. You can go to pretty much any retailer, Target, Walmart, drug, grocery. I mean, we're pretty much everywhere at this point. So Yeah, you can find us. You can always find us on olly.com. We have the entire product, like the whole selection of products on olly.com. Whereas like at Walmart, you probably see like 8 to 10.
Absolutely. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.